Welcome to the Nest, everybody. I am Jake Beckham, joined by Cooper Hunt here on a Thursday once again. This will be going up on Friday, but heading into this, it is a Thursday. How are we feeling on Thursday here, Coop Dog?
I'm feeling good. Tonight, Miami and the Bills. Be a fun game to watch.
Will it be?
It's a good, yeah.
Don't gotta lie to everybody.
Yeah,
But
it's football though. It's football.
It is football, so it is fun, and you can wager money on it, so it is fun. And Josh Allen's playing, so it is fun.
It's fun.
Coming off a very good week, pick'em. We both went 14-2, just straight up pick'em, and so very good weeks. I won my fantasy game this past week. Cooper did not. Cooper's off to 0-2 start.
Horrible.
We're two ends of the stick here. I'm at the top, and Cooper's at the bottom here.
Very sad moment with needing 6 points to win both my leagues, and Omari Hampton could not get that done. Unfortunately, he's getting the bench treatment this week.
What round pick was that?
We won't talk about
exactly.
We won't talk
okay,
about it.
It's okay. Anyways, after this, you guys can listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Anywhere else you can get your podcast at. You can also watch on YouTube if you're doing that. You got it. But heading in, I will have my ticket-worthy top 3 bets of the week, and Cooper will have his starts for each game as we go through. But kicking it off, we will be in Cleveland as the 2-0 Green Bay Packers head to Cleveland to face the winless Cleveland Browns, as the Packers coming in at -7.5 with the over-under sitting at 41.5. Now the Packers are coming off win over Washington, multiple possessions, 27-18. Browns coming off a blowout loss to Baltimore, but Green Bay will be facing some injury concerns on the offensive line, 2 questionable offensive linemen, and they lose Jaden Reed this past week to a broken collarbone. Do you think that has a big effect against Cleveland here?
Against Cleveland, I the pass rush is really good for Cleveland. That's what's kind of been, helping them out through the past 2 weeks. Myles Garrett
has 3.5 sacks to start the year.
Yeah, he's doing really solid, looking like, his Defensive Player of the Year self.
Yep.
So I feel like, Jordan Love's going to have a little bit of pressure with, Myles Garrett there, but I don't think it'll be that big of a deal going into this game. I think that they're still going to come in here and they're going to come out on top pretty easily.
Yeah, so Jordan Love I have in my top 5 MVP candidates right now. I was big on the Packers coming into the year, and I'm big on Jordan Love right now. He has 480 passing yards, 4 tuds. Not anything over the top, but if you've been watching the games, you've been knowing that the Packers have looked fantastic so far. Defense have looked great. Guys are constantly open on offense. And Cleveland will also be facing offensive line injury concerns. With Joe Flacco sitting back there, Flacco had a rough start last week against his old team, the Baltimore Ravens. How much longer does Joe Flacco have as the Browns starting quarterback?
That's a great question. I don't really know how much longer he's got. I feel like, he'll still kind of make these mistakes, but then I feel like once he starts making those mistakes, he'll show flashes again, which, Stefanski's just going to roll with him. But at some point, I think Gabriel's going to come in. So
I think this is the last week we see Joe Flacco as the starting quarterback.
Last week.
I watched the tape of the Browns-Ravens game, unfortunately, and it was brutal. They don't trust Joe Flacco to throw the ball down the field at all. It's all screens. And when he does, the outside the numbers passes from Flacco are terrible. Really bad, really inaccurate. Gabriel came in, scored a touchdown. That's always leaving a good impression as a starting quarterback in a quarterback, quote-unquote, race. So DG came in, tossed a touchdown. I think next week we will be seeing Dylan Gabriel as the Browns starting quarterback.
It's inevitable.
So I think this will be Flacco's last start. The Browns are 1-7 against the spread in their last 8. And a very interesting stat that people are all over this year, pros if you will, NFL favorites of 4.5 or more points this year are 12-0 straight up. They have not lost a single game if they're favored by that much, which usually it's kind of the opposite. Usually we see these weird upsets early in the year. This year we have not seen it at all. It's been pretty chalky to begin the year. Browns are at the Lions next week, then the Vikings, then the Steelers. Brutal stretch for the Browns coming up, but I think Dylan Gabriel in classic Browns fashion will probably get tossed into that fire, probably get some blame. My pick is the Green Bay Packers to win.
Yeah, I have the Packers to win pretty easily against the Browns. The Browns kind of just look pretty rough. For my top 3, the fantasies to start this week, though, for that game, I didn't touch any Browns offensive players. I just don't trust him, against the Packers defense. It's one of the best defenses in the league right now. I have Matthew Golden, and I also have Tucker Kraft on there as the people to go with. But one guy I have on parentheses is Jacobs, just because. Sole reason being is, if you looked last week, Henry was nowhere to be seen. There was a missing poster on that.
I would not trust really any of these guys personally.
Yeah,
I don't love this as a fantasy game at
This
home.
fantasy game is not good, but those are the top 3 if you're going to have to start at least 3 people.
That leads me to say I would lean under 41.5. I feel like it's going to be a very low-scoring game.
Yeah.
Because the Browns' defense is stout. This year, they've only been allowing 2.1 yards per carry. Just stout up front from Cleveland. Green Bay is as well. I don't know. I would not touch the spread. 7.5 obviously feels like, it's a Green Bay cover, but, low-scoring games can be whatever. I'll probably touch 41.5, not going to lie. I'll probably go under that, but it will not be my top 3 bets this week. I got Packers to win. I personally would not start any Packers this week unless Tucker Kraft. Yeah. Tucker Kraft always seems to be open, but I think we still got to see that roll from Matthew Golden and Josh Jacobs. I feel like you got to start anyway. So I wouldn't say sit Josh Jacobs.
He wouldn't sit him, but it's just like one of those things.
But I wouldn't be expecting anything insane.
Don't expect anything like crazy from him this week.
Yeah. Heading into game number 2, we'll see the 2-0 Indianapolis Colts travel into Nashville to take on the winless Tennessee Titans. Colts coming in at 4.5-point favorites over Tennessee, over/under sitting at 43.5. Now the Colts are coming off a walk-off field goal win against Denver at home. Titans are coming off a 14-point loss to the Rams at home. How are we feeling about that Colts-Broncos game,
Colts
man?
Game, we remember watching it, and we were, especially you were really confused about how they were being so conservative, thinking that you're going to hit that.
I was upset at the Cowboys for doing this too, but Schrader ain't Brandon Aubrey at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And so we were like, oh man, I don't think they're going to get it. And then of course they didn't get it, and then
they missed the 60-yarder. After settling on that final drive, missed a 60-yarder, but there's a flag on the play. Leverage penalty.
Yeah, it was leverage
on the Denver Broncos.
15 yards, by the way. We had no clue that.
So
it was
Schrader,
15.
He knocks through a 45-yard field goal to win. It should have been Denver's game. They didn't score. I think they scored one time in the second half after a fast start to the game. He missed a field goal before the leverage play. You can't be getting leverage on that type of play at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is what it is. Colts are 2-0. Broncos get the L. In Tennessee, the Titans got a 14-point loss. Off to a slow start. They led at the half, by the way. They're up 13-10 at the half. But the offense has just been slow. But there have been bright spots. We were watching. We saw the red zone clip when Cam Ward was running around and fired it across the field to Io Manor for the touchdown.
It was a nasty throw.
Yeah, but the Colts on offense are rolling, honestly. They're in a rhythm with Tyler Warren already looking like a star. JT's is just rolling on the ground.
JT's looking like JT because it's been a minute since I've seen JT actually be JT.
Yeah, this game is one, I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts to win just based on what we've seen. But I have an interesting stat. I think it's from Pool Genius on X, Twitter, whatever you call it. He said since 2010, though, winless teams in NFL Week 3 have a 63% win rate against the spread against teams with at least one win. So I would take the Titans to cover that 4.5 number. It feels like a trappy spot a little bit. Like the Titans may keep this one close throughout. It'll be a scrappy game. I think Tennessee will cover that 4.5 number, but not in my top bets.
Yeah, I as well have the Colts winning this game. I think it's kind of crazy. They're going to be 3-0 after this week.
Hey, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't write that off.
I think they will. I
would not write that off.
Again, the Titans have right now the lowest points scored out of all teams in the NFL as well. And I just feel like JT is going to be going and all that whole game. So yeah, I have the Colts winning that. But yeah, I only have 2 players actually to start this game. I have JT and of course Tyler Warren because I don't really trust anyone on Titans offense. Unfortunately, I personally have to start Pollard, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, which for what is it? Context. For context here, me and Cooper are facing each other in the 14-man Jersey League this week. So it will be kind of like this one, 2-0 versus 0-2 here. We will have to see how it goes. So we will have to see. But anyways, moving on to the next game, it will be the battle of backup quarterbacks as the 2-0, somehow 2-0 Cincinnati Bengals move on to US Bank and face the 1-1 Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings are coming into this game favored by 2.5 points, over/under sitting at 41.5. Bengals coming off that 31-27 win over Jacksonville, and the Vikings coming off a 22-6 loss to Atlanta. How are we reading this game?
It's one of those really weird games because Browning, when he came in last week, he actually looked pretty decent with the Bengals a little bit.
He threw 3 picks.
But best decent for a backup,
I don't know.
But it's also one of those games where I feel like like O'Connell. It's O'Connell, and Carson Wentz comes out here as a veteran,
Yeah.
and I just feel like he could either come out and just do terrible, or he can come out and ball out for the Vikings offense. So it's gonna be just a really weird game to watch.
Yeah, with Joe Burrow out with turf toe, it will be Jake Browning versus Carson Wentz. Browning turned the ball over 3 times, like I just mentioned, but he does love Jamar. If that means anything to anybody out there, he's a big Jamar guy. Jamar got fed when he came in last week. Heavy injury concerns in the linebacker core for Minnesota with Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard questionable at the moment. And this is honestly, it almost made my top 3. By the way, betting. I love this game. And can you guess which side I love this game in?
I think you like the Vikings side more.
So yeah. I trust Carson Wentz more than I trust Jake Browning. I trust Kevin O'Connell more than I trust Zach Taylor. And the home team has won 14 of the last 15 between Cincinnati and Minnesota. I got the Vikings to win. I got the Vikings to cover that 2.5 number. And I think the Vikings are just in a better spot. I know it seems they got injury concerns more than Cincinnati. I just trust Carson Wentz. I trust Kevin O'Connell a lot more. And I think that defense is still pretty solid, even if they're missing people in the linebacker core. And I think they'll be able to score more points at the end of the day.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think because there's both backups in, I just feel like comparing defenses at that point, the Vikings defense, in my opinion, is just better than the Bengals.
This could be one of those games Carson Wentz comes in and shreds. By the way,
yeah, it could be. He could shred, and then of course there's gonna be those people that are gonna be like, you know what, we should start Carson Wentz over JJ when he comes back.
Yeah,
type of deal. But it'll be interesting.
That's not a ridiculous statement, though. I think if Carson Wentz were to ball out. J.J. McCarthy looked freaking terrible. I'll say it, bro. Our defense was looking good, but like our defense isn't that good. Like J.J. McCarthy can only throw to one side of the field. I'm not sure if you saw the throwing charts, but he can legit only throw to his right side. His left side, all incompletions, could not complete a single pass. I think the ankle injury is true to an extent. I know a lot of people agree with me when it kind of seems like a PR stunt. Yeah. Like, oh, he was injured. Like, take it easy on the kid. I'm just gonna say JJ McCarthy's getting some real treatment. I'm not gonna lie. Which I don't hate JJ McCarthy. I thought he looked good for 1 quarter in the Chicago game, but he's looked bad for 7 out of 8 quarters he's played. The rookie excuse is cool, but like he threw 2 picks to 2 rookies, by the way, drafted in the 3rd and 4th round. So
you're pretty hyped about that.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that when we get to the Atlanta game. But I think these JJ McCarthy excuses are getting outlandish, bro. Like I haven't seen a guy like babied this much in a minute.
It's really weird because technically this is basically his rookie season.
Which I'll give that.
So
and that's cool.
His first 2 games, so it's like they're trying to kind of baby to him just so that he can be good, start getting better and actually have time. But it's weird with him. So.
And your fantasy?
Oh, yeah, my fantasy. Sorry about that. My top 3, of course, I have Chase just because Browning loves Chase. My first one, of course. And then I also had Jefferson. And then Aaron Jones is out for an injury. So I would say Jordan Mason's probably a pretty big top 3 in that game. Especially having a backup QB in. I feel like they're going to try to run the ball a lot. So.
Yep. And moving on to what I think is one of the more 50-50 games, and Vegas also believes. So it'll be the 1-1 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Boston to face the 1-1 New England Patriots. Steelers are coming into this game as 1.5-point favorites, with the over-under sitting at 44.5. Steelers coming off a 14-point loss to Seattle, when the Patriots coming off a 6-point win to Miami. And starting off with the Steelers, I think they're on and off. I think Rodgers still made some ridiculous throws this past week. Some of those throws were genuinely ridiculous. But the offense took a big step back. The offense, not what people expected, I would say, week 2.
Yeah, I keep looking back and I'm thinking about the defensive stats for Seattle against the Steelers. And I keep thinking that, he threw 3 picks. But he actually threw only 2. The one of them went straight through I forgot who's the guy.
Kendrick.
Yeah, Kendrick.
Yes.
It went straight through his hands and him in the helmet. So Rodgers should have had 3 picks that game. But yeah, they're kind of weird. One of them was straight to Kobe Bryant, and the other one was an unfortunate bobble in the corner of the end zone.
Which I know Rodgers pissed at Freiermuth because Freiermuth went towards the Calvin Austin in the corner.
Yeah.
Which ended up being a pick. I don't know. I'm not bought on the Steelers team still. I think,
me neither.
Again, that game could have been a lot different. I know Steelers fans are so upset about the Caleb Johnson play where it bounced into the zone, and he tried to grab the ball. It went through his hands, but once it got to the end zone, he was like, oh, it's fine. It's a touchback.
Full coaching issue.
That was a 17-14 game at that point, and then after that, the Seahawks outscored them by a good amount after that. So it was 14-3 after that one moment.
Yeah.
So it went from Rodgers going on a drive down 3 to Rodgers all of a sudden he's down 10 just like that. And so,
And just the momentum there kind of just really kind of just stopped with them
yeah,
there.
which the Steelers' momentum kind of came to a halt after Highsmith got injured and left the game. They were up 14-7, and then after that, it was brutal for Pittsburgh. For New England, though, they gathered their first win of the season against a disastrous Miami team. Passing attack, obviously the start of the show against a horrible, horrible Miami secondary. But the Patriots come out with a 6-point win over Miami.
Yeah, I think they look pretty good. You know, even though it was a high scoring game on both sides and all that, they showed some improvement. You know, kind of gives the flowers to the Dolphins. I thought they were gonna be a crap like be awful, so, you
Yeah.
know. But they actually came out and they actually kind of look like their offense. You know who it's supposed to be. But yeah, and the Patriots came up on top and all that, and they look pretty good.
Yeah. So Harold Landry, by the way, for the New England Patriots linebacker, is tied for first in the NFL with Myles Garrett with 3.5 sacks for New England. But that being said, both these defenses are absolutely banged up to a core.
Hmm.
Like I mentioned, Highsmith left the Seattle game, and he will be out with an ankle injury for this game. Joey Porter Jr. is questionable. Derek Harmon is questionable as well with an MCL injury. And then on the New England side, Harold Landry questionable, Christian Gonzalez questionable. It's both these defenses could be missing star pieces, which could hurt New England considering they have the worst passing defense in the NFL this year,
Hmm.
which was kind of crazy to me personally. I think just based on yardage, I guess it makes sense because Geno threw for 360 and Tua threw for a lot as well. But that being said, I'm back in the Patriots here. I still like the Patriots.
Hmm.
I can't give up on this team yet. This was one of my dark horses heading into the year. I like Drake May, and I will say this to the end, probably the end of the season. I got the Patriots cover 1.5 because of Mike Vrabel. I will trust Mike Vrabel. I think he can get the troops together, and I think the Patriots will be ready for this game at home.
Yeah, I said overall, just like looking at the Steelers too, like the defense, you know, it's the highest paid defense. We always say that every week
Yep.
so far. But they cost them a lot of
They
a lot
do
of
not
different
look
things.
like
They
the
don't
highest paid
look like the
defense.
highest paid defense, and I think Rodgers is going to be a liability again.
You think so?
I think
Okay.
I think because I think it's going to spiral down where he just
It does seem like a spiral situation
it
is
just
possible in Pittsburgh. At the end of the day, I'm just taking the team trending upwards, coming off a win,
Yeah.
versus the team trending downwards after a disastrous loss.
Exactly.
After what seemed like a big win week 1.
Yeah. Top three, man. I just not really much. I would say for this game, this isn't a fantasy game. Stevenson's got some touch. You know,
I was gonna say if you want to get that Ramondre Stevenson,
yeah,
started,
Mondre Stevenson, like
Pittsburgh's run defense has been terrible.
yeah, K9 actually he kind of broke out last week. You know, he's been kind of gone for a long time. But yeah, I would say Stevenson, Henderson maybe, but overall, no one really else for that game.
And on to the next game. It will be Lincoln Financial Field as the 2-0 Rams travel to Philly to face the 2-0 Eagles. Eagles are currently 3.5-point favorites with the over-under sitting at 44.5, sorry. And the Rams coming off a 14-point win in Tennessee as the Eagles coming off a 3-point win in Kansas City. This is a weird one because I think both these defenses have looked better than the offenses, which is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams still look like the classic Stafford and McVay tandem, while the Eagles are playing a very boring winning formula. I know a lot of people were upset how boring they've been this year.
Yeah.
No one on the offense is doing anything special, really. The goal is just to win games by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People were upset with especially with the Eagles' offense. You know, passing game. I would say, just especially with fantasy. AJ Brown's kind of been missing still. For those 2 weeks, and you know he's going against the Rams this week, so maybe he'll show up. But looking back against the games with the Rams, Eagles have won at least 4 of the last 5 games. So the Eagles, in my opinion, just kind of own them. So it's like
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to root against the Eagles, especially if I'm wearing a Jalen Hurts jersey right now.
I was gonna say for a lot of people, it's very easy to root against the Philadelphia Eagles,
Yeah,
but
a lot of people it is. But yeah, again, I think just the Eagles are gonna make people even more mad, and they're gonna stick to that run heavy offense with Saquon and
Yeah.
pushing, and it's gonna win in that game.
I think this could be a pretty ugly game. The Rams have covered last 10 of 14 as an underdog, and the Rams have a top 5 total defense to begin the year. I think this will be a pretty heavy defensive game. I think the under is definitely in play, but the Eagles have won 16 of their last 17 against teams with a winning record at home. So I'm taking the Eagles to win. I think, like you said, I do think the Eagles own the Rams, but I'd probably, if I were to bet it, I'd probably go Rams to cover 3.5 if I was going to bet the spread, because I think it'll be a defensive close game, but I think the Eagles will pull it out.
Yeah, I think Eagles will as well. top three for this game, of course, Saquon. I had Puka on there just because I think he's going to be the reception machine for Stafford in this game. And then, of course, I had Hurts on there because I feel like Hurts is going to just farm those points up, especially on the goal line. So,
Okay, traveling in to Tampa now. The winless New York Jets traveling to the undefeated Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Raymond James Stadium. Last time I checked, it was 6.5-point favorites for Tampa, and the over-under coming in at 43.5. Jets coming off a blowout loss to Buffalo, and the Bucs coming off a walk-off touchdown win against Houston. And the Jets just kind of tumbled this past week. After we thought they were in a good spot after the game against Pittsburgh, they weren't. They weren't in the spot that we thought they were in or anybody thought they were in, and they fell apart. This week, Justin Fields is out with a concussion, and Tyrod Taylor will be getting the start. How are we feeling about the Jets team coming into week 3?
It's like with Justin Fields going into this game, if he was playing, I'd say the Bucks also just are just a better team. But Tyrod Taylor is coming in. He's starting for this game, and to me, that's just kind of shaky going into that with that offense, especially how they performed last week with Fields, and Fields wasn't looking that great. Maybe Tyrod Taylor is like
I like Tyrod Taylor. I think he possibly might be more accurate than Justin Fields.
But it's just against this Bucs defense, it's really
this
hard.
Bucs defense is a nasty run defense.
Yeah,
which is the last matchup you want to see if you're the Jets after you went against what we thought was a horrible run defense in Buffalo when you could not run the ball at all.
Yeah.
I thought that was a premier spot for the Jets to possibly cover the spread at +7. They did not.
Mm-hmm.
But Baker is coming off that just huge spot. And the huge walk-off win, the touchdown. Baker Mayfield back in the headlines where I like him. He's also in my top 5 MVP candidates with 5 total touchdowns, 450 total yards. But the Bucs are banged up. Cody Mock's out for the season with a knee injury. Both tackles and Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke are injured. Wirfs questionable and Gedeke's doubtful. Kalijah Cansey's placed on IR. Servassier Denise is also questionable. This team is absolutely banged up. Some of their best defensive players, basically their whole line, probably their 3 best offensive linemen are battling injuries right now. I know this is a spot that a lot of people love the Jets. The pros love the Jets on the road to cover the spread, and all the just the fans, the squares as they call them, like the Bucs to cover that 6.5 number at home. The Bucs have won 16 of their last 17 at home against teams on a losing streak. I don't know, man. I obviously I like the Bucs to win. I don't want the Bucs to lose the New York Jets in week 3, but battling injuries, Baker could be banged up too with the ankle injury. Bucs have failed to cover their last 6 week 3 games at home. I like the Jets to cover that 6.5 number, but I would. If you're going to bet it, I'm going to tell you right now, I would try to alt spread it or find a number at +7. Just to be safe, I would not go with that 6.5 number, but I think it could be an ugly cover for the Jets.
Yeah, and also let's just talk about that dog, our receiver for Egbuka. Man,
Emeka Egbuka.
He is,
yes, sir.
He's cooking. He's and I think this game he's gonna actually just fry. I feel like that's
another big game.
Another big game.
Hopefully,
because it might be a little bit of trouble with Sauce Gardner with Mike Evans and all that. So he might be looking at Egbuka this whole time, and so I think he's gonna do good. Unfortunately, Jake has him, so I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, come on. Emeka Egbuka been balling out. That's been my guy.
But yeah, I have the Bucs winning, of course, and I have Egbuka as the number 1 guy. You start this game, and then I also have Bucky and Baker, because I feel like Baker's just gonna do good with Egbuka. That's the whole reason why. Yeah. So, but yeah.
Moving on, we got the Commanders sitting at 1-1, hosting the Las Vegas Raiders, also sitting at 1-1. Last I saw, it is still at 3.5 favored for Washington, over under at 44.5. Raiders coming off a brutal 20-9 loss against the Chargers at home. Commanders coming off a 27-18, good Lord, loss to Green Bay on the road. And after a week 1 win, the Raiders looked pretty abysmal against the Chargers offensively. Could not move the ball. Geno turned the ball over a plethora, I think 3 times, and they had no success at all passing down the field.
Yeah, and Raiders fans, they walked in there, with the hope of Geno helping him on this offense, and they saw the slice of Geno when he was in Seattle. Watching Geno for a while now, that's basically what he does. Yeah. He'll throw his picks, and I didn't check if he was smiling or not.
He wasn't. He wasn't.
They
had him in hell, at least. They had him actually in hell.
Yeah, he's just bad. Just a bad
quarterback. Geno, yeah. So I backed the Raiders against the spread week 1 against the Patriots. I backed them hugely at plus 3.5 against the Chargers at home. They don't cover that. They had 10,000 chances. They kept getting the ball back. Defense kept getting them the ball back.
Mm-hmm.
They did not go down and score a touchdown at all. That will probably be that'll be it for me back in the Vegas Raiders this year, bro. I'll end my Vegas Raiders. My Vegas Raiders betting record this year backing the Raiders will end at 1-1. I will not back the Raiders again. Come back in like week 8 when I'm like all over the Raiders or something. But
Like,
as of now, the Raiders are banned, absolutely shadow banned from my book. But the Commanders' offense, who has also stalled out kind of against the Packers, they fought back towards the end a little bit. But Jaden Daniels obviously still has some blatant flaws.
Yeah.
And that being said, all signs pointing towards Jaden Daniels probably being out this week.
Mm-hmm.
He did not practice today. On Thursday, when this is uploaded, he practices tomorrow, is what they're saying at least. So Marcus Mariota will probably start at quarterback for the Washington Commanders.
And it is looking good for them, for him maybe starting for week 4, if he's practicing already, tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not starting this week. Mariota, right, and then against Geno. Dang, QB battle century.
Yeah.
It's just one of those weird games because it's like you never know. Like Mariota could just do. He's a veteran. He could do decent enough for them to win the game. But I will say that Raiders fans will be upset if they cannot beat Marcus Mariota.
Which I would like to say that leading into my pick, I have the Washington Commanders winning this game against the Raiders. Yeah. Jaden Daniels or not, the Commanders I feel like are going to get this game done at home. At home, in a spot where I don't know, man. It probably feels like a spot where you should probably hop back on the Raiders train because everyone's going to be off the Raiders train, but I'm not going to. I will not be touching this game with any U.S. currency, though.
Yeah.
I just have the Commanders winning.
Yeah, I had the Raiders winning this because Jane is in play, just because it's going to be one of those games where it's just like they're going to kind of get garbage time, just like win with them just because Jaden Daniels is out. But, I could see it going both ways. Top 3, I did have for my fantasy. I did have Bowers on there still, just because Bowers been producing. I had Big Bill, out there because I think that because since Eckler went down last week with an Achilles injury, I feel like Bill's gonna do really really good this week. And then I had Genty on there because you kind of had to start him since if you probably drafted him top top 2 in your first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say those are the top 3 guys that you should be starting.
Okay, moving on to Charlotte, as the Carolina Panthers, failing to find their first win against Arizona this past week, will be hosting my Atlanta Falcons, who are coming in at 1-1 off of a 16-point win over the Vikings. Falcons coming in at 5.5-point favorites, over under 43.5. Panthers coming off a 5-point loss to Arizona, which they backdoor covered that game after being down 27-3. But this team still sucks. Bryce Young still sucks.
Yeah.
I watched that last drive, Carolina. You cannot fool me with thinking that you came back and looked good in that game.
With my notes, I have here Bryce Young. ...
Yeah, he's terrible. I mean, such a letdown spot, and I feel bad for the guy because everyone's kind of back on the Panthers train after the end of last year.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this last week. The Panthers are just still horrible. And it feels bad for Panthers fans. It doesn't feel bad for me because I could care less. They're in the division, but the Falcons got it together defensively. 6 sacks, 3 turnovers forced, but offensively, we got to capitalize in the red zone. We were able to win that game by 16 still, but we settled a lot in the red zone for 3, which I was not a fan of. I wanted 6, but it got the job done.
New kicker showed out, though.
Yeah. Hey, big Park Romo, baby. Parker Romo, you are kicker 1. Sorry, bro.
You can be on the bench, though.
Yeah, it's been a fun run, bro.
Yeah.
It's been real. Panthers will be missing 2 starting linemen. They lose them to IR. And the Falcons could be missing A.J. Terrell after he got injured in the first half last week. I think Atlanta's a much better team in this game.
Yeah.
I probably would not touch the spread, though. 5.5 is pretty large for a weird divisional road game for Atlanta. What I would touch, though, is that Drake London anytime touchdown because he is due.
Yeah, it's like he's
I live and die by the phrase somebody is due. And Drake London is absolutely due in a team that he usually scores on. What do you think?
I basically what you said. Like the Panthers look awful. Bryce Young's not doing great. Watching that Falcons game, their defense looked scary. Like it was really really good against J.J. McCarthy. I just think that Bryce Young is just an awful QB. I think you guys are gonna have a lot more turnovers and you guys are hopefully capitalize a lot more. I won't think it'll be close.
Yeah, so Drake London has 4 total touchdowns in his 6 career games played against Carolina. I like that a lot. I would take Drake London anytime touchdown. I would take the player prop here. The Falcons, yeah, like I said, Billy Bowman, first ever career pick. Xavier Watts, first ever career pick. Jalen Walker, first career sack. James Pierce Jr., first career sack. Shout out to all the rookies in Atlanta, getting some against a quote unquote rookie and JJ McCarthy, but that's their excuse though. It's okay. But
Yeah.
Atlanta, that defense looks scary this year. I'm very excited for this defense, and I think we could have Bryce Young in hell this week.
Yeah. Top three, Bijan, of course, because Bijan,
He might be the most raw,
he's
talented player in the
he's
league.
actually just crazy. I remember
Yeah.
there's so many times I'd be watching the guy and go, "Oh my gosh, how do you do that?"
Yeah.
That's a deal. Like we just said, London, he's due, so that gives you something. And then Michael Penix really likes his throws to Kyle Pitts, so I have Kyle Pitts
Yeah.
also
He's
on
been
there.
working in the offense.
So
I think, yeah, Penix, we were really safe with Penix this week. We didn't really take any downfield shots this past week. Week 1, we did. So we'll have to see how that goes for us. If we can run the ball, we'll just run the ball all game. So you'll have to see. Obviously, my pick's Atlanta to win. Drake London anytime touchdown.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to a game that has one of my favorite bets of the week, as it'll be the winless Houston Texans traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 1-1 Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars are coming into this game as the favorite at 1.5 point favorites at home, over under 44.5. Jags coming off a 4-point loss to Cincinnati and Jake Browning for most of that game. The Jags looked really miserable to me. I think as somebody who picked them to win the division, the ground game's rolling, but T-Law still looks so flawed. I thought this was finally a T-Law year. He's just not hitting throws. Brian Thomas he's been cold all year. Brian Thomas just, dropping things, just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Travis Hunter has like a good amount of receptions, but like no yards because they're working with a screen game and whatnot. I don't love what I'm seeing out of this Jags team right now.
Yeah, like Ryan Fitzpatrick said, he said if Trevor Lawrence can't get anything going this year with Liam Cohen, then he can't get it going with anyone else.
That'll probably be it.
So, it's just one of
Which
things
sucks because he's so rawly talented.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much raw talent. It's all up here. It's all in the head. I mean, I don't know, man.
it's just very QB, like weird QB. Like,
Yeah.
like Trevor, like I don't know, like he's like flashes, but also he just make mistakes and like I think it is a big mental thing. But like Jake said, he goes, I don't think the Texans are gonna come out here and start 0-3
Yep.
after this game. So
Which flipping to the other side, CJ Stroud has not looked good either.
yeah, he's not.
Last year or to begin this year. They looked to be in a good spot against Tampa before letting up the game-winning drive. But the offense, it's going up. They went from 9 points to 19 points. Hopefully 29 points. Keep the pattern going this week. But yeah, I think that's just what it comes down to. I think Houston, with the eye test, has looked better than Jacksonville has. I think there's no chance the Texans start 0-3. And that is why it's one of my favorite bets of the week. Houston Texans money line will be getting worked into the rotation, as the Texans have won and covered in their last 8 divisional games as road underdogs. That is a brilliant stat that I love. Texans will not start 0-3 this week. I have to fade the Jaguars, who I loved coming into the year. But the hot spot of the Jaguars offense, I thought was going to be the air attack. It's not at all. So I will be back in the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I have the Texans winning as well this week. And the top, I only have like a couple people in this game. Nico, just because Nico's been really good with Stroud. And then I have Travis Etienne, even though he kind of had some carries stolen last week. He's still doing pretty good fantasy wise, so I just start him until he's not, or get rid of him until he's not. But yeah, those are my top 2 for this game.
So in record time, we will be moving on to the 4 Eastern, 3 o'clock slate here. We got through the noon slate faster than we ever have. We're making progression here. We're making it more listenable here. This one is also one of my ticket-worthy top 3 bets of the week, as the 1-1 Denver Broncos travel in to LA to face the 2-0 Chargers. The Chargers are coming into this game favored by 2.5, over under 45.5. Now, the Broncos, as we mentioned earlier, lost the absolute heartbreaker and kind of fluky loss to Indianapolis. Even as bad as Denver's look, they probably should be sitting at 2-0 right now. But I'm still concerned about Bo Nix. I'm afraid the defense got a little overrated, including by me. I think it got a little pushed kind of crazy out there. They're blitzing, I think, more than any team in the league right now. And that's been the only way to get pass rush for Denver, which has been unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think this Chargers offense is a little too one-dimensional. They can't run the football at all. So if you're going against a team that can't run the football, a team like Denver is going to be able to drop back and know what you're doing. And they're like, all right, if you can run the football on us, that's how you can beat us. So one of my ticket-worthy top 3 bets of the week, the Denver Broncos plus 2.5, and I would absolutely hammer it if it moves up to 3, because I think you're too one-dimensional going to Denver. This Denver defense is going to know you're passing, and I don't think LA can run the ball. I think Chargers are more banged up, and Herbert has been playing a little too perfect for me. I think we're due a Herbert kind of just
Herbert,
step back a little bit.
little flaw.
Yeah,
Yeah, the Chargers and the Broncos. Bo Nix came out. He looked awful week 1. Week 2, he looked a lot better than he did week 1. Um, like you said, I kind of like the idea how you're thinking of that defense. Chargers are kind of one dimensional, but also their receiving core is actually doing it and showing
it
up.
really is.
Keenan Allen is looking like Keenan Allen,
Yeah,
like
bro,
old
my
Keenan.
bad, dog. Like I don't even know.
Jake was like, I disrespected
And
him.
I told Cooper, I was like, maybe we should have known. Like, it's just kind of weird because he's coming out of the Bears and he's coming back into this offense. Like, I don't know. He pulled a James Harden. He looks fine. He's not fat anymore. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and then McConkey looks great. And then
He's not even been producing fantasy wise. I think we're
Yeah.
due for McConkey to start stepping up, but not this week.
Yeah, not this week.
Hopefully.
But another guy that's been surprising in the receiving core is Quinn Johnston. We did not think he would be good at all, and
Yep.
I don't know where he's doing really good.
Quinn
Last
Johnston's
week, especially
producing.
fantasy wise too. Last week he scored a 60-yard touchdown. Like he's just crazy, man. He's doing really good for them. But yeah, like Jake said though, the Broncos defense can just hold their passing game down, then they're gonna try to make them run. And as you can look, they have Najee and Amari Hampton.
I just don't think this team can run the football.
So yeah, Hampton is awful. So
It's still early, but I don't
Yeah.
think Amari Hampton's a very good running back.
very very upsetting because I was pretty high on him this year, and he's right in the bench right now, for me until he actually can start producing on the offense. But yeah, I actually had on here the Chargers win, but I think Jake's kind of convinced me that the
Flipping to the Broncos.
Yeah.
Which I texted Cooper while when I was looking into these games last night, and I texted him, how much of a sicko are you? Because if you're a sicko, we're betting the Denver Broncos at +2.5 or money line this week because this is just, and honestly, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because week 1, I faded the Chargers with the Chiefs. Week 2, I faded the Chargers with the Raiders. But surely I don't strike out on the divisional rivals here with the Broncos, but we'll see.
But I will say that if the Chargers win this game, then they have a lot of morale in them going, you know what? The first 3 weeks we went against our division opponents,
and we're 3-0.
And we're 3-0. So it's gonna be
it's
pretty motivational for that.
I don't
team.
see it. I don't know why. I can't see Herbert playing this perfect. I can't see Harbaugh being 3-0 against division opponents.
Yeah.
I got to go with Denver. I think it's a prime spot for Denver to show up and help everybody out in the division a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, I top 3 I had Quinn Johnson just because McConkey is not, he's gonna be on PS2. So I think Quinn Johnson's gonna do pretty decent on that pass game, and then I also had Dobbins on there just because they've been running a lot with him on that Broncos offense. And Troy Franklin. So
yes, sir. Hey, by the way, Troy Franklin was a master waiver wire. I picked him up before the weekend, this past weekend. So he did not even make it to waiver wires. I made sure I had Troy Franklin, and he will probably be in my starting lineup this week.
Yeah, which is scary against me.
Moving on to Cooper, Seattle Seahawks at 1-1, hosting the 0-2 New Orleans Saints. Seahawks coming into this game favored by 7.5 points, over under 41.5. Saints coming off a 5-point loss to San Francisco, while the Seahawks are coming off a 14-point win over Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you want to start with Seattle or New Orleans? Which one do you start off with here?
We can start with New Orleans because I'll probably talk about Seattle a little bit.
Okay, so New Orleans actually, I was a hater. I moved around the Saints and the Panthers here for one reason. Spencer Rattler's looked pretty solid. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, he's looked better than Bryce. I'll tell you that. Spencer Rattler hasn't turned the ball over. He's been showing improvement, which this is always things that we kind of wrote off. Yeah, you can't do that. They 2-0, you 1-1. Yeah, you can't.
I want to do that though.
They undefeated you not. Like, you can't do that.
Hey, they haven't gone against us though.
Yeah. Okay.
And next week though. Next week.
But Spencer Rattler has shown a ton of improvement. A thing that most people did not think was going to happen this year was Spencer Rattler trend upwards. He's, again, like I said, hasn't turned the ball over at all. The Saints, I don't know, they've looked okay. Like, they lost by 5 to San Francisco, shot themselves in the foot this past week against San Francisco, lost in one possession to Arizona. I think the key for Seattle in this game is to finally force Rattler into those turnovers. Their defense is an absolute force. My only really solid complaint about Seattle is Sam Darnold. I think they live or die by Sam Darnold this year in big games, so we'll have to see that.
Yeah, Sam Darnold he had one pretty good play last week against Pittsburgh where he was able to spin move out of a sack and get the ball for the first down. But yeah, he's just kind of scary because just like there's a lot of like he just like I don't know, he can't sit there and pass the ball. He has to kind of move around and all that. Yeah. He's always afraid. The O-line's not doing insane. But our receiving core We're doing pretty decent though. Jason's been targeted a lot, and he's got two back-to-back 100-yard games. So I don't know. Yeah, the Saints though, like
Torrey Horton gets his first career
Torrey
touchdown.
Horton, yeah, first career reception, I think, is like
Is
first
a
career touchdown
Yep.
as well, which was really great. Cooper Kupp actually showed up last week,
Yeah.
and he was a big part of that game.
I said he would.
Jason,
Jason still produced more than I thought he
Jason
would.
produced a lot still. The big thing I could take from that game was you looked at Charbonnet out there, and then you looked at K9 when he's out there.
That's what I've been saying, man.
Look at the difference between the production with that run game.
I'm gonna pull up the stats just so I get it exactly on the dot, because it was just so much like worse than I could even predict, I guess, or say, because the whole time I was saying I know it's the same O line, I know it's the same protection and run packages, but K9 was just explosive. K9's been more explosive than Charbonnet. Yeah, okay. K9 averaged 8.1 yards per carry. He had a touchdown. He had 105 yards rushing on 13 carries. If we move over to Zach Charbonnet, if you did not watch the game, this is about to be even worse than you could think. 15 carries, so two more carries than K9.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how many yards less? 93 yards less. 15 carries for 10 yards.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Charbonnet is just like
under a yard per carry.
The difference with them is like it's not the same, but just kind of comparing it was like Algier and Bijan kind
so
of
what I had said, I was like previously before the season and whatnot, I was like, this is like us having, which we've actually ran the ball a ton with Algier, so I was like, this is like us giving Algier more carries than Bijan. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Which obviously it's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of disrespectful to Algier.
Yeah.
Like Charbonnet's a lot worse than Algier. Algier's a bowling ball, and Bijan's obviously better than K9, but like, it's still like the same concept.
Concept of it. But I also, it's like I think K9, like his contract's kind of coming up pretty soon too. So it's like I don't know if
they don't re-sign him,
if they're trying to do it where they're like, oh, we're trying to get Charbonnet into here, so then he's gonna be our starting guy and let K9 go. And then as they see K9 comes in here and he proves that he can be this running back for his offense. I don't want to see Charbonnet out here even more after this season. I want K9 to be here, especially I have a K9 jersey. It's like it's one of those things. Yeah, K9 went out there, and I feel like every single drive we watched with him out there, he was getting the ball down, and then we would at least score something. Charbonnet, he came out there, and he gets stuffed on the line, and it was really frustrating to see. And then he's just not shifty. He just runs straight, and hopefully he can just run through people. He can't read a gap. K9 sits there, he looks, and he can juke, he can go. He's super explosive and fast. Like, I don't know. I think we need to just have K9 a lot more. I'm also saying this too because in my fantasy league, not the one me and Jake have, I traded for K9 in London, so I kind of want K9 to actually do good now. But it's one of those games though with Saints for Seahawks. Saints again, their run defense isn't great. I think this will be a great game for K9 to even show out more. Yeah, and I'm excited. I think this is going to be a game where we gotta kind of prove ourselves and go out there and just score a lot. We need to run up the score. I feel like to give us just some more morale. But our defense is great. I like what I've been seeing a lot. Our D line's producing. Byron Murphy's been doing something now instead of last year he didn't do much at all. And yeah, even without Witherspoon, we still did pretty decent.
Yeah, that's the biggest positive I would say is the secondary was definitely a concern, and then without Witherspoon, it still looks solid enough.
It still looked good. Josh Jobe has been doing it,
Yeah.
And we were big Josh Jobe haters, so
I still am.
Yeah,
he's not a good football player. I won't buy it.
Of course, because my team, I hope he does this all year.
So,
but it's not. He's not great. But yeah, we'll see how he does.
So to play devil's advocate just a little bit, if I were to bet the spread, I would probably go Saints plus 7.5. I think it's just such a big number which I think is a concerning fact here for a team that's lost 7 of their 8 last home games. Really think about that. At home, you've lost 7 of your 8.
We suck at home.
To
be honest, we suck at home.
I don't understand how it's even possible.
I don't know. Yeah,
for
especially
a 12-man team.
Yeah, 12-man. Yeah, the whole thing about.
I don't understand. I don't get it. I think the key, like I said, for Seattle is to force Rattler into those turnovers finally.
Yeah.
So I got Seattle to win. It is one of my best bets here. Ticket worthy, if you will. I have the under 41.5. I don't think this goes over by any means. I don't think the Saints will be able to score on Seattle. Mm-hmm. And I don't think Seattle's offense is explosive enough yet.
Yeah.
So I would say my prediction I had in my head is I think Seattle wins by a couple touchdowns, but even 27-13, which I think is higher than it will be, is still under. So I love the under. That is my third ticket-worthy top 3 bet of the week.
Mm-hmm.
2 of them coming in the 3 o'clock slate, and 1 of them coming in that early slate.
Yeah, and then top 3 players for fantasy for that game. JSN, he's been just producing well for fantasy. He's getting those targets, getting those yards. This could be a JSN first touchdown of the year game. K9 again, run game. I think that K9 and both Charbonnet are you guys. I just dogged on Charbonnet, but if Kubiak's gonna want to have Charbonnet out there almost every other drive, there's gonna be a spot where Charbonnet probably goes for a lot or gets a goal line. I think he could. I think what's gonna happen is if he's gonna get points, it's gonna be a goal line, garbage time touchdown.
I think an explosive Charbonnet run is like 10 yards. So.
Yeah, it's 10 yards. Yeah, but no, I think he'll just get like a random touchdown, which K9 should be getting, but not him. But yeah.
Okay, so your official pick is Seattle, obviously.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to, I think, Fox Game of the Week, I believe. America's Game of the Week. Do you know, Brady, if that's Game of the Week? Do you know? Bears-Cowboys.
Bears-Cowboys.
I believe it is. I believe it's your... Yes, the most expensive tickets for this upcoming week at Soldier Field. But, okay, America's Game of the Week, the 1-1 Cowboys traveling into Soldier Field take on the winless Chicago Bears. Now, this line is kind of weird because it's just such a pick'em. Depending on the sports book, it is either Chicago -1.5 or it's Dallas -1.5. I've seen both on different sports books. Currently, ESPN Bet has -1.5 for Dallas, but most of them have Chicago favored. Over/under coming in at 50.5. The Cowboys are coming off an absolute barn burner, if you will. Game of the week last week, an OT win over the New York Giants, 40-37. And the Bears are coming off a 31-point loss to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Now, starting with the Cowboys.
That game gave us a heart attack last week.
So that was me Cooper's Survivor pick for our Survivor League. That was, we both picked the Cowboys.
Yeah, because we're like, oh, this is such an easy game because it's the Giants.
Yeah, if you remember last week, I said my favorite bet of the week was Dallas -5.5. It was my absolute lock of locks. All the pros. So last year, the pros were all on the Panthers every single week. They were like, we're betting the spread on the Panthers because no one else is. That's where we're going to make our money. This year, it's been the Giants so far. Week 1 was not good. This past week, it worked pretty well for them, which even the spread, I still had confidence in overtime because I was like, oh, they might score a touchdown. They win by 6. That works. But Dak and those weapons are definitely a bright spot of this team. Dak is an impressive quarterback. I do enjoy Dak Prescott football. He will get the ball on the field. And his defense is truly remarkable. In the worst way possible, I mean that. This is I sit back and just watch the Cowboys defense. I go, this is remarkable, but not in the good way. This is remarkable how terrible this defense is. And as people that we both hopped back on the Cowboys train last week, we're like, we apologize basically. Hey, our bad, man. Like we should not have hated on you guys this much. We should not have
we felt bad.
Drug y'all through the mud.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's just like going from that week 1 game against the Eagles, we're like, wow, this defense is actually looking pretty solid.
Yeah, Steven
and
sucks.
So I even picked him up in fantasy because I thought, oh, wow, this defense is pretty good. It's going to be the Giants, lost me in my game. But
-5 points.
Yeah, -5 points. If they, I went against Brady over here, and if they only scored 1 point, I would have won. So that's why I'm pretty upset with the Cowboys.
You could also say if Colson Leather would have put a point on the board.
My team was awful last week.
Yeah, Derrick Henry did put up 2. You got lucky. That was the one time. That's the lowest Derrick Henry will go for you. So you didn't get lucky in that regard.
Yeah, Derrick Henry. I was like, oh, I'm gonna win this because Derrick Henry put up 2 points. 2 points. And that's what I was so confident about it. And then no, I still lost because of all those reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, the Cowboys defense looked horrible against the Giants, and
genuinely bad.
Just genuinely awful.
Like even at the end of the game, they still let Malik Neighbors get behind him. That's all they had to not do was let Malik Neighbors get behind him. They let Malik Neighbors get behind him. Neighbors went crazy.
Neighbors is a dog.
Yeah, Neighbors went dumb. They let Russ just have an absolute day. His career passing yards record, by the way.
What was his passing yards? Like 400 and something.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up in the Chiefs game, but I can bring it up now. Career high 450 passing yards from Russell Wilson in 2025.
Yeah, he did great.
So the Bears lost in concerning fashion. They lost by 31 to Detroit. Caleb's still making the rookie mistakes I thought he'd kind of grow out of. It's a little concerning. I don't know if you saw Ben Johnson was not trying to shake anybody's hand after.
No, yeah,
the game.
he looked like he was like.
Jared Goff had to run him down and say something. I saw
a picture of him and Dan Campbell, and he's just like looking dead.
You leave a team and you get beat by 30 by them. It's
not in the mood whatsoever.
It is what it is.
And even in the press conference, they're like, "Do you think Dan Campbell was trying to?"
He defended him. He defended him.
But he goes, "It's Dan Campbell. He goes on 4th down every time. It's Dan Campbell." He's
gonna do what he does.
He was not happy about it. But
I would not be happy.
I mean, no one's gonna be happy about a team running up score that much.
Which I will say, if I was in Ben Johnson's shoes, I'd probably be salty too. So I'll give all the credit out to the head coaches that are like, dap dude like other coach and players up after the game because I
Yeah.
would not be in the mood to be going around. Oh, great game, man! You got a lot of potential.
Yeah, we
I would be
scored 30 points
pissed.
on you.
I'd probably look like Ben Johnson running off the field.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would not want to be there. I'd just be
So
gone. But yeah.
overall, after that being said,
Yeah.
I'm still fading Dallas in the spot. I think Chicago to pick up their first win at home at Soldier Field. I'm taking the Bears to win. But if I were to bet it, I would probably go over. I'd go 50.5. I think it's a solid number. I think these teams will both score a ton of points with both horrible defenses. Chicago's missing a ton of pieces on defense, especially in the secondary. So I would bet the over if I'm going to bet it. My pick on the graphic or pick 'em slate will be Chicago though.
Yeah, I have the Cowboys winning this game. I think it's gonna be a shootout. Again, both defenses aren't great at whatsoever.
Terrible.
I think that for my own personal, if you want to bet this, I think CD's at -120. Not it's not too bad. But it's definitely a game I feel like CD's gonna get a touchdown. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet. The past 2 weeks, and there's really no one to guard him right now. And he's just again, like Jay said, due
to get in the end zone.
Due to get in the end zone. I think CeeDee Lamb's gonna do great. Javonte Williams has been producing for the run game, and then Odunze is looking like the Bears receiving one out there.
He's been involved very heavily
he's been
in the
a
offense.
baller. So yeah, I have the Cowboys winning this. Again, it's kind of a hard game because it's 50-50 game because it's gonna be a high scoring game. But yeah, I have the Cowboys winning.
Moving on to our final 3 o'clock slate game, we have the undefeated Arizona Cardinals traveling into Levi Stadium to take on the undefeated San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are coming into this game favored by 2.5 points, over under 45.5. The Niners coming off a 5-point win over the Saints, Cardinals coming off a 5-point win over the Panthers. So, I don't know. We'll start with the Cardinals.
I think,
They've beaten 2 of the worst teams in football to start 2-0. But the offense has been moving in the right direction, I will say, from last year at least.
Mm-hmm. Marvin Harrison wasn't really there last week, I would say, but he was there the week before. It's just Cardinals, in my opinion, they're kind of fraudulent.
Okay.
They went against 2 pretty bad teams, and they looked like they're doing good.
For my buck, probably the 2 worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah, 2 worst teams in the NFL, and they almost lost near the end of the game because they start coming back.
Which I will say, the Cardinals were getting stops against the Panthers that last drive. The refs were on something, bro, because they got the Panthers on the first 4th or 3rd and 17, one of the two. A late holding call down the field. They got bailed on another 3rd down. They just kept getting bailed. Panthers kept getting first down off just penalties, and then Bryce Young still found a way to not get the ball out. He made one throw that entire drive, and it was way over the receiver's head.
Yeah.
For the 49ers, though, already missing Kittle, already missing Purdy in week 3. They found a way to win against New Orleans.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think Purdy being gone, Kittle being gone, it doesn't matter.
I don't think so. I think Kittle matters a good amount.
I think Kittle, he matters. It's just one of the things where I still don't think they're gonna lose just because they're both gone. Yeah. I think Mac Jones kind of proved just a little bit.
I think, like I said last week, I think Purdy's is pretty fraudulent for the contract. I think Mac Jones is able to step into that spot, but they are still missing Purdy being able to get outside the pocket. That is his redeeming quality. So when I was picking the game, I just sat back and I was like, how much can you really trust Mac Jones? If you can trust him, you pick the Niners. If you can't trust him, pick the Cardinals. I trusted him last week. I don't want to test my luck, so I will be picking the Arizona Cardinals this week. And the 49ers have failed to cover in their last 9 home games following a win. So I will be on that Cardinals plus 2.5 or plus 3 number. As much as I also don't think the Cardinals are a great team.
Yeah.
I'm going to back them against an unhealthy 49ers team more than likely.
Yeah, I do hope the Cardinals win just because I feel like that'll help us, help Seattle a lot, in the future just because Niners having that loss. I don't know. I still had the Niners winning this game because the Niners defense is still good, and Kyler's been getting sacked a bunch the past 2 weeks, and I feel like Bosa's going to be trouble for him. I think McCaffrey, he'll just do McCaffrey things for the offense again. Even though he was gone for a little bit in that Saints game, me and Jake were
not many carries.
Not many carries,
brutal for overbetters.
Brian Robinson's been kind of doing well in that backfield. But yeah, Pearsall I think is gonna do good. MHJ, Marvin Harrison Jr. might show out this game, but it'll be interesting because again, it's one of those things where it's kind of the opposite in my opinion of the Bears and Cowboys game, where it's still 50-50, but I don't think it's gonna be super high scoring. I think it can go either way. It depends if Mac Jones is trustworthy or not.
Yeah, which at the end of the day, I'm not backing Mac Jones, so I will be picking the Cardinals. Cooper's on the 49ers.
Yes, I am.
And then fantasy.
Oh yeah, fantasy. I had McCaffrey, Pearsall, and then Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay, those
I
are the
think
three.
those
Okay.
top three guys pick.
Okay. Moving on to Sunday Night Football in the prime time. We will be seeing the 0-2 Kansas City Chiefs somehow.
0-2.
Moving on to the 0-2 New York Giants. Kansas City coming in at -6.5. The over/under is sitting at 45.5. The Chiefs are coming off a 3-point loss to Philadelphia. Giants coming off a 3-point loss to Dallas. Now, we'll start off with the Giants. Hey, man, they look like they had one hell of a offense against Dallas. They look solid.
Yeah.
As Russell Wilson passed for, like I said, the career high 450 yards.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that was lightning in a bottle for Russ against just a terrible secondary. I don't think that's the Russ we'll keep seeing. I'm not gonna. I know there are people out there that are gonna back the Giants on the spread. Just fade the Chiefs, I guess, a little bit. I will not be one of those people. This is the first 0-2 start under Patrick Mahomes for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're playing their absolute worst ball and still only losing by 3 to the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think overall, people are overreacting just a little bit about this whole Chiefs team. They're suffering some injuries. Really unfortunate that Worthy's out after the Week 1 game, but
which the weapons is what I am concerned about because it usually doesn't have an effect on Mahomes, but it does seem like Travis Kelce dropping one into the defender's hands in the end zone is not going to help you win games.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, they went to Brazil Week 1.
Yep.
It probably was just kind of tiring for the team. You can say the same thing with the Chargers, but the Chargers came out top. Overall, like that first game, I can't really blame them because it's an international game. Week 2, they went against the team that destroyed them in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So it's one of the things. It's like you can't really blame them. It's kind of just hard to do that. But again, they didn't lose by a whole lot against the Eagles, and I think people are just kind of just fading them because they don't like the Chiefs. I've heard opinions about how that the Chiefs are going to be awful this year. I doubt that.
So
I think they're going to still do
the odds for them to make the playoffs are now officially at like -150, which I think are really good odds. Unfortunately, as two guys that are in college in the state of Missouri, we cannot take advantage of those. We're settling on Fliff, so we can't take advantage of that. So we will not do anything with that. But it's nice to toss that out there. Chargers are now the favorites to win the division. If you want some nice little odds, I think. But yeah, the Chiefs won their last 10 road games following a home loss. Yeah, there's not a chance. I don't think they lose this game.
Yeah, the Giants. They did look good. They looked really good offensively last week. Defensively, not great. I just think Mahomes is gonna kind of settle down. They're gonna stay back to the roots, and they're gonna get the win against the Giants this week.
Yeah.
My top 3 fantasies this week, I have just Mahomes because I think that he's gonna start. Like I just said, doing good. Malik, he performed really really good last week. I think he'll do pretty decent this week. Even though he has to go against McDuffie, I think that he'll do good with Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson's a little scary. And I also have Kelce, though, as my third because, again, it's the duo.
Yeah.
The duo on the offense. I think that's what the weapons.
Which I wavered Kansas City in fantasy. I think the defense will have a kind of a prove it spot because their defense did look good last week.
That's why I thought about the Cowboys.
Okay.
That's what I thought about the Cowboys.
Let me break it down for you real quick. Dallas Cowboys defense, known to be one of the worst secondaries in the league, losing their best defensive player because they didn't want to pay him, and just truly a horrible defense from last year.
Yeah.
And you picked them up because you thought they looked solid against the Eagles.
I did.
Kansas City Chiefs, one of the better defenses of last year, top 10 PFF graded in pretty much every positional group defensively, coming off of a week where they shut down the Eagles pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting them against the New York Giants. A little bit different in my opinion.
That is true.
A little bit different.
That is true.
A little bit different. You come back if the Chiefs defense scores minus or -5, I don't know what I'll do.
Yeah,
I can guarantee everything that they will not.
Yeah, no, it won't be like that. But
I would not touch the spread. If I were though, I would just take the Chiefs to cover that 6.5 number. But it could get scrappy. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I have the Chiefs winning, of course, for this game.
Okay, moving on to Monday Night Football, we will see the 1-1 Detroit Lions go into Baltimore to face the 1-1 Baltimore Ravens. Now the Ravens are coming in favored 4.5 in this game, over under 53.5. Both teams coming in with blowout wins last week over two of the worst teams in the league, probably, but blowout wins nonetheless.
Yeah.
The Lions are still here, despite the overreactions. This team is still probably near the top of the NFC. I think the Lions are still a very, very good team. I know you picked the Bears to beat them last week.
I did. I overreacted out of the Week 1 loss.
They got it done. They're back.
Yeah, this game, in my opinion, is going to be the game of the week. I think it's gonna be a high scoring, just like banger, like kind of how
Yeah.
The Bills Ravens game was. Like I think it's gonna be really fun to watch, just because
Yeah.
you look at both of the run games too, with Dale Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs, and they have Derrick Henry on the other side. It's like I think that this game is just gonna be a whole lot of
Yeah, this will
fun.
probably be the most bet on game.
Yeah.
This will be the money that the books take in the most money on, for rightfully so. I mean, this is an absolute fun game. Like, this is just a great game on Monday night.
Hmm.
The Ravens could not rush the ball. They cannot run the ball at all against Cleveland, and they still won by 24 points. So I think that kind of just sums up how incredible this team is.
Yeah.
No matter what, they're gonna freaking blow you out if you're bad. If you're good, they're probably still gonna find a way to win. They should have had that win against Buffalo. That was the one that fell through their fingertips, but I think that might end up helping the team in the long run.
Yeah, I overall this game's gonna be great, and me hating on the Lions last week and kind of fading them. That
Yeah.
kind of just again, like Hector
Hand up
said,
there.
that kind of just shows how good the Packers were, because I thought that the Lions are just awful, but they're good. But
Yeah.
I have this game like being a shootout, coming close, fourth quarter, and I think Tyler Loop is gonna win them the game.
Okay.
I think it's gonna show a little bit, and he's gonna win it.
Okay. So Baltimore's won 8 of their last 9 home games. Lions have covered 10 of their last 12 games as underdog. I got Baltimore winning the game straight up.
Mm-hmm.
I probably won't touch the spread, but if I were, I don't know, I'd probably try to find an alternate spread with Baltimore at -2.5. But if it's straight up, I would go Baltimore -4.5 probably. The score I had in my head was like 38-31. I think there's a lot of points scored.
Uh-huh.
A lot of stuff like that. I would take Baltimore, though. I'd back Baltimore overall.
Yeah, and then top three players for this game. I think Henry's going to be here. He's going to come back. They're going to find him after he's missing last week.
Yeah.
I think Gibbs is going to show out this week, and Amon-Ra had a really big game last week against the Bears. I think he's going to show up as well.
Yeah, which I know Baltimore gave up 41 to Buffalo, but I think this defense is a lot more trustworthy than Detroit is.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Hamilton is just ridiculous in the secondary. Everywhere around Baltimore, the defense is just really good.
Yeah.
Compared to Detroit, I think still has some defensive concerns.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to see, but that is all the games on the slate.
Mm-hmm.
To sum up some of the things, my ticket-worthy top 3 bets of the week are Houston, Texas money line, Denver Broncos +2.5, and Seahawks Saints under 41.5. I want to do this. Before we go off the air here on the podcast. I told Cooper to save the CD thing because every week me and Cooper tend to place a little parlay. So I'm a lot more serious of a football and sports gambler than Cooper is.
Yeah,
Cooper
he knows everything.
For NFL, he just dabbles in like one parlay a week or 2 parlays a week.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to I with my bets and stuff, I place a ton of straight bets. I'm more in the universe of sports betting. But I told Cooper to save some of the stuff he liked because for this week's parlay that we do every single week, which last week was brutal, by the way. The parlay I think hit 2 out of 5 legs or something. It was not good.
It did pretty bad.
But this week we will be doing. I will have 2 legs. You can have 2 legs of this parlay, and I will tell the great people of the Nest listening fan base what the payout would be, and if they want to tail it, they can.
Okay.
So I'll give you time to think in case you're trying to find a second leg.
I mean, I have 2, but I feel like one of them is gonna be yours because we already talked about it.
Yeah. So I will be going, and you might want to take one of these because I don't know. I will be going Houston Texans money line.
Okay.
Which is at -105. This is all in reference to FLIF because we are college students in the state of Missouri. Mm-hmm. That is the legal betting, gambling, very, very legal YouTube. Very as legal as you can get. So please do not take this video down.
We are over
please.
the age.
Yes, we can legally bet on FLIF. That is legal one. I'm going Texans money line as one of mine, and I am going. See, I don't know which one of these I want to take. I'm going under 41.5. Seattle, New Orleans.
Okay, yeah, I'm actually gonna have 2 player props this week.
Okay,
I'm doing CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown -120.
That is coming in at -120.
I just think that he's due, and then we're talking about the other guy that's due. I think I'm gonna have also Drake London.
London you can get at +140 now. By the way,
+140 on there. That's I think.
So do we want to settle really 4 legs, or do we really go the extra length and toss the Denver Broncos on here? I will leave it up to you.
Confident in that.
No, okay. This is what I always say. I'm gonna leave it up to Cooper because for me personally, I will be betting that number anyway. I have other bets. This is Cooper's sole Sunday betting for the most part.
Yeah.
So I will leave it up to him. Because the moment I bet these parlays, I'm assuming they miss. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Compared to this is Cooper. He wants these to hit a little bit more than I do, more likely.
I need these to hit.
So I will leave it up to you if you want to play Denver because money line is sitting at +135.
Yeah.
And +2.5 is currently sitting at +105. And
That's
plus
pretty
odds.
good. That's pretty good odds though, because
So currently with the 4 leg, $10 would pay 163,
It's pretty good.
which means $20 would pay $327.
How much did you put in?
What?
How much would you put in?
Put into what? I haven't put anything in yet.
Well, how much
I was
would
just
it
saying.
be?
I was saying $10 would pay 130
130.
or one.
I thought you said $1. Like,
Oh
I
no,
was like,
$10 would pay 163, and then $20 would pay 300 plus
$20.
327. So I'm leaving it up to you. Do you want the Denver Broncos on this parlay? Do you trust the Denver Broncos to get the job done at
let's do it.
SoFi?
I have Bo Nix in fantasy.
At
so
the money line?
Yeah.
On the money line?
Which one's better? Do you think money line or do you think the spread?
I'm a big believer in playing spreads because those games you always get where you bet the money line and somehow the Broncos lose by 2 points and you go, wait a minute, I should have just bet the freaking spread. So spread is at plus odds, plus 2.5, plus 105. $10 on this 5-leg will pay $336, and you do the math there, $20 would pay $672.
It's pretty.
So that will be
good.
the next parlay of the week. It will
Parlay.
be Drake London anytime touchdown, Houston Texans money line, and then we will head into the 3 o'clock slate where we will get the Broncos 2.5 number, the under 41.5 total score for Seattle and New Orleans, and CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown in America's game of the week. And so, like I said, $10 pays, what did I say, $336, $20. Do the math there, whatever you want to put, whatever you're comfortable with, just whatever you bet, make sure you can lose that money, please.
you don't have to do it.
So please, if you don't blame it on us if it doesn't hit. It's just a little fun thing we're doing with money we're comfortable losing in the process, just for the fun. But that will be this week's Week 3 preview of the Nest. Make sure to go listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast at, or you can watch on YouTube, the video version if you would like to. But that will be this week's podcast, and thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys win your fantasy games. Hope you hit your bets.
Hope I win my fantasy game this week.
And have a great weekend of football.